You're going to feel amazing after these 15 minutes, mark my words. We're going to start on our hands and knees and we're going to push our hips all the way back, stretching out our back and our arms. And we're just going to relax and stay in this position for the next 30 seconds. Take some deep breaths in and long exhales out, and relax your body and get comfortable in the position. After a few deep breaths, come back up onto your hands and your knees. And we're going to take ourselves into a cat-cow. Round your back as much as possible and then go into a arched back. And while you're going through the motions of this, kind of move your body as it feels good. If you want to rock forward, if you want to kind of go side to side, do what feels good for you. Remembering to breathe through the movement as well. This really improves our spine mobility and it also helps to deeply engage the core. Once you've done a few more of those and you've moved your body, you're feeling good, I want you to slowly come up and put your right leg forward into a lunge, but with your left knee still relaxed, and we're going to stretch out our right arm, looking up at the sky, and then bringing our elbow down to the floor. Doing a couple of these on each side. After you've done a couple of these movements, it should feel a little bit looser as we bring our elbow to the floor. And now we should be a bit more warm to extend that back leg completely, not resting the knee, and performing the same movement a couple of times on each side again. Feel that nice big stretch. And the other side. Once we've done a couple on the other side, we're actually going to bring the other leg forward and we're going to do a lunge rock. Warming up our hip flexors, our ankles, our toes, before slowly preparing to extend that front leg to form a triangle. So we're going to extend it, bend over. You're going to feel a really deep hamstring stretch. We're going to bring our leg forward and back, and we're going to rock. You can see here that my hamstring is low-key shaking. This will feel a little bit challenging depending on your hamstring mobility. We're going to do the other leg now. You may even notice some imbalances when you're doing these movements. One leg might be tighter than the other, and that's okay. You can identify which side feels tighter. And once we've done a few more of those, we're going to come back to a high plank. Now we're going to walk our feet all the way to the top of the mat, feeling that really big stretch through our hamstrings, slowly coming up and then doing a big overhead stretch and taking it to one side and then over to the other side. Feel that nice side stretch. Now as we come back up, we are going to do a few standing forward folds. So we should get a nice stretch through the hamstrings and through the spine as we're coming down and then coming up vertebrae by vertebrae, overhead stretch, and then back down again. We can make this movement a little bit more challenging by grabbing our ankles and pulling our body closer to the ground, closer to our thighs. And again, standing forward fold. This is a bit like a Jefferson curl, but without any weight. We are just using our body weight and pulling ourselves as close as possible to our thighs, grabbing our ankles. Now we're going to walk our feet out into a plank position, a high plank position, and then slowly taking ourselves into downward dog, and then into cobra, using our arm strength, trying not to touch the floor, looking side to side, and back up into downward dog again. We go forward into cobra, again trying not to touch the floor, carefully looking side to side, and then back up into downward dog again. And we're just going to perform that movement again one more time, going as slowly as possible. And we're going to put our knees down and slowly come up to a standing position, getting ready to go into some deep squats. So with our feet just over shoulder width apart, keeping our back as straight as possible, and pushing our knees out with our elbows, really feeling that inner thigh stretch. Your feet should remain quite steady on the ground in this position, but if your heels slip up, that's okay. Extend your legs, feel that hamstring stretch, and go straight back into the deep squat. And perform those a few times. We should feel quite loose at this point, so this exercise should feel quite nice. Deep stretch. As we go back down into this position, really push out with your elbows. And now we're going to take it into a big reach, looking up at the sky, back down again and switching arms, trying to keep those feet as flat on the floor as possible, really sitting into the movement, feeling that stretch on the inner thigh and the back of the hamstring. And then I want you to do what feels good in this position, whether you do a few more stretches or you rock side to side, really opening up those hip flexors. Whatever feels good for you for the next 10 seconds. And then we'll stand up. Now take your feet so they are wide, way beyond your hips, as wide as you can get them. We're going to do a deep side lunge, really trying to keep that depth and remain quite low in this position. Again, we're really opening up our hip flexors here and trying your hardest to actually keep your feet both flat to the mat, which can be quite challenging. Naturally, we'll want to go up onto the ball of our feet. So really focus on keeping those feet flat to the mat. Perform a couple of these. Once you've done that, we're actually now going to do a B stance RDL. So taking one foot slightly back just to give us that support, and then we're going to hip hinge forward, keeping our leg as straight as possible. You shouldn't really be able to go much further down than I am here because the hamstring pull will be quite hard. And we're just going to do a few on one side. This should really, really feel quite tight. And if it does, that's a good thing. Switch to the other leg after you've done a few. And if you can feel this in your glutes, then it's a good sign that your glutes are quite activated. This is really going to help you. This is an incredible hamstring stretch, but it also is really going to help you when you perform your RDLs and your deadlifts with proper load. We're going to take a seat on our mat, have a huge stretch forward, go as forward as you can. It's quite a difficult movement, so don't worry if you can't stretch all the way down. Okay, now we're going to go into our seated single leg raises, doing about 10 on each side. Again, this really helps with our hip flexors. If you want to support yourself, put your hands behind you. And do the movements quite slowly. This should feel quite challenging. Just doing a few on each side. Now moving on to crab rocks. Sit on the floor with your feet hip width apart and your hands placed slightly behind your hips, and press through your hands and feet to lift your hips up into a reverse table position, engaging your glutes and hamstrings. Then gently rock your hips back and forth through a comfortable range while keeping your chest lifted. This improves shoulder extension, it will open up your thoracic spine, and it will activate your posterior chain by rocking the hips back and forth from a reverse tabletop position. Feel that stretch in your shoulder, and remember to go as far forward as you can. You shouldn't feel any pain, only a light stretching in this movement. Now we're going to transition from the crab position into the crab reach. So reset yourself, hands out to the side, and we are going to shift your weight onto your feet and your right hand. Lift your left hand off the ground, push and twist your body, keeping your 2 feet firmly planted to the ground, and drive your hips high into the air. You always want to touch the floor or go as near to it as possible, stretching on the way up, remembering to keep those hips raised. Your back might click doing this movement, and you should definitely feel a really nice stretch in your spine. Try your best to not take your foot off the ground when you are performing the stretch. This helps to extend the thoracic spine and improves your upright posture. And come back down, and we're going to take a little breather here. Come with our feet together, sitting down, stretching out the back, and rocking a little bit side to side. We only have one more movement and then we will be finished for our 15-minute session. The next movement is going to be a plank rock. So we're going to fire up our core as the last exercise, getting into a plank position. Low plank works best. And rocking with our feet forwards and backwards. Time yourself, do it for 30 seconds to a minute. You should really start to feel the burn in this movement as you're having to work your core to bring your whole body weight forwards and back. Just a few more seconds. Final downward dog, big stretch. And then stand up tall, walk your feet, or your hands rather, towards your feet. And we are done. I hope you feel loose. I hope you enjoyed that. And this can be repeated a few times a week to make sure that we're not neglecting our mobility.